Chase Daniel said he's been working out with Jordan Love a little bit. He had the chance to, and that Jordan Love has such an intense focus this year that it only rivals the intensity that Drew Brees that he's seen from Drew Brees heading into a regular season. Now, I know that I know we've addressed the Jordan Love workouts before, and it's very easy to just look back and say, like, you know what? Everyone works hard. They're in the NFL. I do think, though, if you are a Packer fan, every time you see something like this, you have to just sit back and smile, because this is a quarterback who midway through the year, it clicked for him. It started to work, and you could become fat cats. It's very possible, very easy in sports to just sit back and be proud of what you accomplished and call it a day and think you could just ride into the sunset the next season. It's not how it works, because there's always someone working harder. And if you see all these other quarterbacks, these successful quarterbacks, Hall of Fame level quarterbacks like Drew Brees working out with them and saying that the intensity is there, I think you're just sitting back going, man, we got another guy who not only this time does it seem like you got a talented guy, but seems like you got a guy also who's just great in the community, a great leader. And it completely sucks as a Vikings fan to see that.
It's Iowa State was a fat guy, by the way, too, in the NCAA tournament. But
I'm sorry about that.
It's easy for a young kid who was incredible to end the year to just go and say, like, you know what, like, all right, I got this. Like, I'm fine. I'm good. The improvement was unbelievable, and this, like, we clicked, and I'm okay. Now to see him coming back and working harder than he's probably ever worked before to want to even get better and take that next step is incredible for our fans.
Yeah. For our fans. It makes anyone who says the Packers are going to win the Super Bowl, you have to look at them and say, probably not, but it's a chance. I mean, of course, there's a chance. It's not unrealistic to think Green Bay's in the Super Bowl this year. I absolutely hate seeing this. Yeah. Ziggy, any comment? It just makes you sick to your stomach.
Yeah, I don't want to talk
we
about
probably
this
got time
anymore,
for
man.
like 3 more questions.
Yeah, well, a couple more questions here. Big Carl, he says, is Xavier McKinney the key piece the Packers are missing for an NFC North division winner and Super Bowl team on defense?
I mean, I think this just tells you something about what I think. I think the key piece the Packers were missing to win the division was the franchise quarterback. And they got the franchise quarterback about halfway through the season. So, Xavier McKinney, I think he'll be useful, but you look at the impact an elite safety does. They make a few big plays a year, impactful, but, not swinging more than a game or two in terms of outcomes. I think that he is a good player, but I do not think that he's the kind of guy that's going to push the team over the edge. The thing is, from where I'm sitting, this Packers team is already, assuming that they're as good as last year, in a position where if things break their way, they're going to win. And it's always good to have playmakers who can cover, who can tackle, who can do it all. So I wouldn't say he was the missing piece to push them over, because I think really they were already there, but it's going to make a difference for sure.
I mean, this was noticeably the biggest position that the Packers needed was the safety help in the secondary. I do agree with Ziggy, though. If you thought the Packers were a team who could have won it last year at the stage they were at in the divisional round, if you looked at this team and said, okay, this team is legitimate, McKinney obviously helps. I think he's a fantastic safety. I don't believe that there's much of a difference if they were a contender then versus now.
Mm-hmm. I see. I think it's a great addition. Ziggy's right. Ziggy's right that the quarterback is the piece. But quick thing before we move off this question with Xavier McKinney, I don't want to throw Darnell Savage under the bus here, but Packers fans remember missed tackling was a big problem for Green Bay last year. Darnell Savage, 17.4% missed tackle rate for his career, 8th highest in the NFL last year. You bring in Xavier McKinney now, 5.7 missed tackle rate last season. That was the best of 61 eligible safeties. He's going to be in cover one a lot with Hafley's system. You're going to have to make plays in the run game. You're going to have to make plays on an island. Xavier McKinney can do that. So in football, you can never say that one player comes in and can make that big of an impact. Or you can for a few guys, but mostly quarterbacks. I don't think Xavier McKinney is the guy to necessarily push them over the edge, but he's a huge addition that can really be a key supporting piece if Jordan Love is able to maintain the level of play he had. We have, and this is funny, everyone knows that I always struggle reading the mailbag names here, so I'm going to do the best I can. All right, I know how to read. Let's just get that out of the way. I know how to read. It's just Pri-Eclipse. He says, well, Jack, we'll do this one quick. How many Super Bowls will Jordan Love win in the next 5 years? I think at least 2. Merle came back. Merle clapped back for all Vikings fans. Thank God.
I saw that.
You know you have to beat the 49ers first before reaching the Super Bowl.
I saw that. I laughed at that.
That was great.
That was funny for Merle. Winning a Super Bowl is very, very difficult. And Jordan Love is very, very good. But to come here and say, all right, like, I think he's winning 2 bowls in the next 5 years, that's legit. Like, that is legitimate stuff. I'd say 1.
Look, I would die for 1 Super Bowl.
Yeah, so of course. So would I.
I have to say one thing, which is I think the success of Brady and Mahomes has really warped people's expectations of what's realistic. 1 Super Bowl in a career is a great, great career for a good quarterback. 2 is even more incredible. And when you start talking about like 2 or 3, you're talking about a very small list of guys. If Jordan Love's an excellent quarterback, the Packers should hope for 1 Super Bowl. And I think they're going to get it. But it's different than you can't just point and say, oh, yeah, man. Love's going to win 2 Super Bowls in the next 5 years.
I love the confidence in it. And I think there's a good chance that they do win 1 Super Bowl. But you have to guess 0. But I like, look, the Packers have as good a chance of anyone over the next 5 years.
Big Ben won 2. Drew Brees won 1. What does Peyton Manning have 2?
Rodgers won.
Rodgers won. Jordan Love played 1 very fantastic season. It's tough to go and say, all right, this guy's winning 2 bowls in the next 5 years.
Don't bite the hand that feeds you,
look,
Jack.
I love the confidence too.
Don't bite the hand. The Packers are going to win 5 Super Bowls.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
Okay, so from...
Although we're a much better franchise than the Packers, by the way.
From Ryu Hitsuya, he says, what does the NFC North... Hey, come on. I know I've messed up Ryu's name before, but that time nailed it.
Could we get some AFC North questions from these fans?
Here's another
Just
NFC
once.
North. What does the NFC North look like the next 5 years in comparison to the other NFC divisions? I'll take this one quickly. I actually think it stacks up really well compared to everyone else. If you take a look across the rest of the NFC, there's not too many teams in there where you can look at a young quarterback and say, all right, I have a lot of confidence in them going forward. I think you have that in Jordan Love. Jared Goff is 29 years old, something like that. And Jared Goff he's not as old as you might think. Caleb Williams, I think, is going to be very good. And the Vikings, I like the direction that they have, even though there's a lot of pieces that need to be filled in on that roster. O'Connell's a good coach, and they're going to get a rookie. I think the NFC North is actually right next to maybe the AFC South, the most promising future of any division in football. So it'll be very competitive for many years. Great coaches, young quarterbacks. I love it. I think there's a ton of talent. From Cusick, he says, first of all, congratulations on 10,000 subscribers. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Cusick.
He says, I know you guys are very thankful, but I wanted to say, maybe. He said, I want to say how thankful we are too for the quality content week in and week out. I personally can't wait to see what other ideas for segments and what next will come and what comes next from you guys in general. So thank you very much. We really do appreciate that, Cusick.
Appreciate it, boss.
Who knows? Who knows what we'll try and think of for segments next year, but it should be a very fun football season. We have a couple fun ideas in the works right now. So let us know too if you have any that you'd like us to try out. He says, as for my question though, before the offseason moves...
there's more.
Yeah, there's more. Before the offseason moves, I saw a few people mention how their dream Super Bowl for next year would be the Texans versus the Packers, which as a Packers fan, I couldn't agree more. And we've mentioned this earlier, that Packers and Texans are 2 teams that we've compared all of last season. They just feel very similar. But after all these moves and key additions for both teams, do you think it's a realistic Super Bowl, or do you think the Chiefs and 49ers hurdles are too high to clear just yet? And also, what potential Super Bowl matchup would you guys like to see? So in terms of Texans and Packers, I don't think that the Chiefs or 49ers hurdle is necessarily too high. Packers are closer to the 49ers than the Texans are to the Chiefs just because of that Mahomes hurdle that you have to climb. I think both these teams really are loaded on the offensive side of the ball, and the defenses are getting better. They improved this offseason. I don't want to necessarily say that I'm not saying they'll beat them, but I think it's definitely on the table, and that would be a super fun Super Bowl to watch. Just still unlikely though.
It's not some impossible feat. Like it's not some set in stone thing. It's going to be Niners versus Chiefs. I'd say it's definitely more likely the Chiefs get back there than the Niners. I think the Niners could be dethroned. We saw it in 2 games last year on their home field. They probably should have lost to both Green Bay and Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's tougher for a young quarterback like Stroud to probably have to go on the road and beat a guy like Mahomes.
God, that'd be a really fun. Obviously, we don't want to see the Packers there, but that'd be a really fun Super Bowl.
It would be incredible. I think Green Bay like you said, has a better chance to get there. But it's not impossible at all.